Greetings, this is Warrior King, and the time has come for the lions and the lioness to tell their own story. This is the lion's voice. Give thanks and praise for the wonderful blessing that's been poured on me. Give thanks and praise. Jah use I as an instrument to set the people free. Jah give her the power to chant. Jah give her the power to chant. Ras Tafari, the lion's voice.
What are you waiting for? Come together, calling from near and far. Know who you are. What are you waiting for? Rally up, it takes the dust. What are you waiting for? Ancestors paved the way for us. Yes, I am Ketis Oyonde, asking, what are you waiting for to come together? The time has come for the lions to tell our own story. This is the lion's voice.
Which is the irony, because if the earth is the source of all wealth, how come the people have access to the most earth at the lowest amount of wealth? But how will it show that? And that agriculture is the same way you talk about agriculture, but also focusing a lot on the king of all plants, which is the ganja plant. See, I'm think Jahlani can go into more detail, but what we know is that the stories are that when how will them plant food and go Spanish town for go sell, and them just now white. Everybody food stop sell claim and the food sell off.
In a real sense, what Howell did, I think, was remind us of our indigenous understanding, which is how we feed ourselves and how we find labor collectively. The system of shared labor, how to break the back of a whole heap of land that needs to be plowed or weeded or harvested. You know, basic system of shared labor where you have work for work or day for day.
Yes.
Whatever it is that the system is known as, we now know that those are the basic things that Howell did.
Well, front to us, a son was born and a child was given.
I want to ask you a question. Have you got your book? Haile Selassie's Ethiopia Volume 1, The Rise of the Priest Warrior King. I've read the book in its entirety, and I must say it's very inspirational, very informative, and very historical, right?
Them call him Ras Tafari. When he was born, rain fall from sky. Them call him Ras Tafari. When he was grown in airplanes he fly. They call him Ras Tafari. Lion break the chain, weep not, don't cry. Them call him Ras Tafari. Read your Revelation chapter 5 verse 5. Then born near the city of Harar, the inspiration for Bob Marley's guitar. People crowd him like some big superstar. It no matter if England.
Hold on there. Family, I don't have a Ferrari and I don't have a Bugatti, but I have two brethren who are top scholar when we can reason with. You understand? Me wealthy. So I just want to them know that. So Knife talk to I. So,
Yeah, I actually say more and more. Once I got provide more information, for sure, a lot of those ones were members of this society because it's them have the information.
yeah,
So who
man.
you think of outside Selassie first? I must have the information, man.
The man with the information.
Yes, remember know all of the writings. If you go and read all of the man them book, if you go read Manlepi all them book, them meet Blavatsky book them talk a whole about Ethiopia and link it back to Atlantis and them places, you know. These are documents that these people have access to. So it's not by chance, it's not by coincidence. See? But again, within those others as I mentioned, there's a big emphasis on the economics. So I want to tell that, say, Jahlani, when we were in the conference in Antigua, I remember if you in that session with the far right, the elder Virgin, that's a boy, he was in Jamaica as one of the first persons who came from Antigua and signed up Ras Tafari and said that God had actually established the 12 tribes using some of the principles of the Rosicrucian, which is where we use the membership element and the whole thing of paying dues and things still seen, and the big emphasis on the business component. See, we know that Howell himself now, without even knowing how much about his work in the masonry, when he came out, Howell recognized the brethren. You have to have economics. And I'm going to tell you that Howell, I think, created one of the best and most successful models that is anchored in agriculture enterprise. I think that is even more crucial for I know. Why agriculture enterprise? Because even the RMO, when I deal with, remember our things are similar to what we were writing about over here. Food, health, and wealth sovereignty. And how do you get food, health, and wealth sovereignty? It's through agriculture. Which is one thing that I speak of a lot. When tells the boy, a paraphrasing that says that only when a country has established a solid foundation for its agriculture can look towards the future with confidence, because we know that everything else we are talking about, manufacturing, etc., come out of agriculture. See? So today, we find ourselves whereby the highest incidence of poverty amongst many developing nations tend to be in rural areas, which have the potential to establish significant agricultural enterprise, but has been neglected and in many places generally dismissed. See? Which is the irony. Because if the earth is the source of all wealth, how come the people have access to the most earth and the lowest amount of wealth? But how will it show that? And that agriculture is the same way you talk about agriculture, but also focusing a lot on the king of all plants, which is the ganja plant. See, I think Jahlani can go into more detail, but what we know is that the stories are that when how them plant food and go Spanish town for go sell, and them just now white. Everybody food stop sell to them and the food sell off. That's what I learned.
ITAL standard.
All right. Everybody food stop sell until man the food sell off. And we know about the raids in Pinnacle, several raids, the 54, 57, all of those raids, and the amount of money that they found in those spaces and how the community was actually growing. We struggle today to establish communities that are built around agriculture that supports the spaces. The closest we can go to those is some place like now South St. Elizabeth. And those are extended families planting and sustaining operations as against a community family with over 2,000 people with a particular objective and a particular spiritual focus and a mission, doing these things extremely successfully. So I'm saying that if you want a model to replicate, that is a model that you need to look at. And so at the time, I remember when I time me and Jahlani are reason to, I think Jahlani show a document where the man must say like, the man work up a Pinnacle, you know. And why must say man work up there? When the man chant bingy, you imagine 2,000 people chanting bingy with a big fire on top of a mountain and the whole soul come across the whole of the city. What kind of fear? Where said shook Rome?
Shook.
That definitely shook Rome. Because you can imagine 2,000 people chanting, man.
Serious.
Just imagine that.
Serious.
From the mountain top. So all them guys are up on the flat. Where think them thinking?
And
So
most people have burn kerosene lamp and them think there's not a time where you have TV around and them things.
All right.
So not travel.
All right. And you can see the big fire up on top of the hill up in the sky. So these are things that we have to think about, you know, and say, how do we replicate a model like that in this time that really uses agriculture as a basis for development in a very sustainable way? And
You know, Knife.
Yes.
Knife, I'm not sure if you know Jabash, who is in St. Martin.
No. I probably do, but I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him. But that's the name.
Yeah, man. It's a brethren that they tried to Jamaica for 2003 when we had the global reasoning.
Well, I would have seen him then, yes. Yes.
Yeah, but at the time, you know, he's talking what you're saying in terms of model and example, where he has a solidarity project, which is the name for the Ras Tafari organization there. St. Martin is very small, right? 37 square miles or something like that. But he has a one Ras Tafari space, which is a 5-acre patch, where he has 36 varieties of mango and 56 varieties of general food crop.
Nice.
And the mangoes alone are the source of his income, because it's a place where tourists and locals eat mango. And when we say 36 varieties, I'm talking about coming in bounty based on the way he produces this. What he uses is the farm as a teaching tool where schools come in and actually learn sustainable development by planting out the acreage. So, I mean, when I look at the videos, you're talking about kindergarten students coming in, learning how to sow seeds, learning about composting, learning how to plant in the ground itself, and then coming back to tend to the patches. And it demonstrates that what Howell was doing is not rocket science. It's something that is it's at the core of human science, how to live, how to feed itself, and from the earth. So this brethren was able to tell me, said the goats forage over 50 different foliage just from observing what they do in the field. This is real knowledge now,
Yeah, man. Serious.
And being able to discern what now you can try based on what you've observed the animals them going after and how them use what them use. So in a real sense, what Howell did, I think, was remind us of our indigenous understanding, which is how we feed ourselves and how we find labor collectively. The system of shared labor, how to break the back of a whole heap of land that needs to be plowed or weeded or harvested. Basic system of shared labor where you have work for work or day for day. Whatever it is that the system is known as, we now know that those are the basic things that Howell did.
Tell them bowledge, the far eye. Tell them bow, Selassie. When me tell them bowledge, the far eye. Tell them bow, Selassie. When me tell them bowledge, the far eye. Tell them bow, Selassie. When me tell them bowledge, the far eye. Tell them bow, Selassie. The 23rd of July, born in a province named Harar, I burn them God from sky. Cause I know the prophecy is true. Cause unto us a son was born 1892. We build the OAU, come break all chains. Tell them to far eye, was his name the same? Man that crowned as the Ras, it didn't come fast. Went from village to Dejazmatch, who governed in Harar from the age of 13. This is you blessed with Iris, supreme first king. You're the throne with them queen. Hear the trumpet sound, gather round, tell the youths them come in village. The far eye, tell them bow, Selassie. Let me tell them bowledge. The far eye, tell them bow, Selassie. Tell them so fight so many wars. Just to centralize the tribes, no 9 to 5 the reigns came when the king arrived. Cause out of the womb of Yashima bet he survived, born wise. Plus he focused on his plan, no joke. Armies await his command. They say a child shall lead the way. When them see how the warriors surround, that's when the people them say, this child destined for the throne. When them see how we govern in Harar, that's when they all bow down. The government on his shoulders, Mussolini coming with his plan. He's preparing his soldiers, but his plan has to fail. Weep not, the Lion of Judah prevail. Hailage, the far eye.